Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the Adidas Pro Boost Low. So when we first saw some leaks on this shoe, and I guess the first leak that we saw was from the catalog, and we saw the tech specs of this shoe, and we saw that it was, full length Lightstrike with a supposed boost. I guess it said it was drop-in boost if I remember correctly, but it's not really drop-in. It's just like a boost core, which is also kind of nice, you know what I'm saying? I was very excited, and now that I've played in it, I'm very excited to share my experience with this shoe to you guys. If you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the traction. So they're using a full-on herringbone traction pattern, and there are different pods on this colorway. We have this orange colored pod that says boost and some herringbone, and there is a little circle here where your big toe is, and then around the perimeter of the outsole we got some gum, and there's really no difference in the hardness of the rubber. It's hard everywhere. And of course I was playing on an outdoor court with this shoe, and it has a very good bite. I had no issues. Like, for example, when I was playing in the D-Rose 773 2020, it had a very nice looking traction pattern. It was herringbone and all that, but then it had an interesting like rubber compound, so like it would slip when I was playing it outdoors. And it had the same exact outsole as the Pro Vision, which I also had a problem with on an indoor court, right? So I was a little skeptical with the Pro Boost Low, but I actually had no issues. It had a very good bite on an outdoor court, and where I was playing, it's pretty dusty. And I'm not really sure how that translates onto an indoor court. Like, if you play on an outdoor court and the outsole performs well, for the most part it's probably going to have a good bite on an indoor court. But as far as the dust pickup and all that goes, I'm not 100% sure, so just take that with a grain of salt. And then as for durability, this shoe is looking really good. The grooves are pretty deep. I'm just getting some normal wear, just like all rubber does on an outdoor court. So there's no ripping off, there's no tearing off. So durability on the outdoor court is definitely very good. So the outsole performed very well for me. As far as the heel to toe transition goes, it was pretty damn smooth. You got a nice rounded shape here in the heel, a nice curved shape here in the forefoot, and you have a lot of flex here in the forefoot as well. So the overall heel to toe transition is very smooth. Moving on to the cushion. So you would think that it would be very nice in this, right? Because it's Boost and Lightstrike. They're both very nice cushions, but it's kind of not, right? So it reminds me a lot of like the Harden Volume 1. So as far as the court feel goes, it is insane. It's just like any other Harden, but because of that, obviously the cushioning is very thin, right? So you don't really feel a lot of compression, right? Especially at first. When I first got this, I was pretty disappointed because if you look and feel, the stroke board is very stiff, right? There's only a small cutout here in the heel, so you can kind of barely feel it in the heel, like as far as underfoot cushioning. And then now that I've broken it in, it's still like not very nice. It definitely gets a little bit softer, right? And you can start feeling the boost a little bit underneath your foot, but it's definitely not as nice as you would think. And there is a little bit of compression here in the heel, but this cushioning setup is mostly responsive, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, you feel low to the ground and you feel very fast. There's no lag. The cushion's not too soft or anything, and the impact protection is actually pretty good for how good the court feel is. I'm not saying the impact protection is great, comparing it to like, I guess like the LeBrons or something, but it's good. My feet didn't hurt that much when I was doing hard impact landings or heel strikes or anything like that. So don't expect too much from this cushioning setup, but in my personal opinion, it's actually pretty nice. All right, moving on to the materials. So the materials here in the toe box area, they're using actually a very cheap like synthetic material, and it creases a good amount. So you can see all the crease marks and stuff, which I'm not really a fan of. And then underneath that, you have this textile mesh type of material, which, is actually very thin. And then here in the toe box area, it's also like pretty thin. It looks like, there's a lot of layers of materials, and it looks like it's gonna be kind of cumbersome and also thick, but it's actually not. It conforms to your foot very well. It feels overall very minimal on foot. And as far as the ankle padding goes, there's not a lot either. There's just like an average amount of padding here in the ankle area. So if you're looking for quality, obviously you're not going to get it here. It's only $110 shoes, so obviously you're not going to get great quality materials, but on foot it's nice. It definitely does get the job done. And also another thing that I really like about the shoe is the tongue construction. So if you look at it, the tongue is like outside of the shoe, which is very obscure. Like, shoes really don't do this. The tongue is usually inside of the shoe, but not in the Pro Boost Low. So the tongue is basically attached to the outside of the shoe, and there is this elastic band here where the tongue's supposed to be. And when you put on the shoe, this elastic band kind of like stretches over your foot, and it's actually very easy and simple to slide on the shoe because you have this very large heel tab. And it kind of reminds you of like an Ultra Boost or like an Epic React. You know, like when you put on those shoes, the material kind of like stretches over your foot. It gives you a nice fit. That's what it kind of does here in the midfoot, and I really like that as well. And then the tongue that's on the outside of the shoe gives you a little bit of padding as well. So that's one part of the shoe that I really like. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size and it fits me very well. So lengthwise, it's a tiny bit long. There's just a little bit of space lengthwise, so that definitely wasn't an issue at all. And also another thing that I loved about the shoe is how tight it is here in the toe box area. And it's very snug, and I like to have a very snug fit here in the toe box area. It just gives me a better sense of lockdown and security and fit. And the fit is definitely not gonna get loose, you know, because of this synthetic overlay. So the shoe stayed tight and snug. You know, like in some other shoes like the KD Tray 5.8 or like shoes that have a very soft mesh or textile material, those shoes tend to stretch out as you break it in, so the fit gets a little bit loose. But that definitely does not happen here in this shoe. And then widthwise, I would say it's slightly narrow. It's not choking my foot out or anything, but it is pretty snug widthwise. And like I said, this elastic band definitely improves the fit as well here in the midfoot area, in my opinion. So the fit was very good for me. If you like to have a roomier fit or you have a thick or wide foot, I would suggest going up half a size or maybe even a full size because of how snug the shoe fits. Alright, moving on to support and lockdown, I had absolutely zero issues. And for lateral containment, I was good. You know, my foot was not moving anywhere, and I was very surprised at how supportive and how locked in my foot felt when I was wearing the shoe. So I was good for lateral movements. And also another thing is, look at how wide this shoe is. Right, so it doesn't really have an outrigger, but you can see how much this shoe protrudes out here on the lateral side because of the midsole and outsole, and that gives you a lot of lateral stability. And you can also see how flat it is here as well. So you're gonna be stable. Obviously this is a low, so you're not gonna get any type of ankle movement restriction, but you should be good to go. And if you want a little bit more ankle support, or I guess that security, you can definitely wear an ankle bracelet with this shoe. And that's one of the strong points about this shoe. You know, like if you're a big guy, if you're heavier, but you're very shifty, this shoe is definitely supportive enough for any type of movement or anything that you're gonna throw at this shoe. So moving on to the weight, this shoe is probably me around average, probably like 12.5, 13 ounces. Yeah, so 12.63 ounces. Let's check the left pair. Yeah, 12.87 ounces. So it's definitely not super light, but you know, it feels minimal on foot, and I really like what they did with this shoe. You know, like Adidas, usually they like to do a lot of bubbling. They like to have the midsole come up a lot for some reason, and that just makes the shoe overall feel unnecessarily bulky and just like chunky. But in the Pro Boost Low, they do a good job of keeping the shoe like minimal feeling and overall pretty damn light comparing to like their other shoes. All right, moving on to ventilation. That's a note for this shoe. There's absolutely no airflow. Like if you blow through it, you don't feel really anything. And here in the toe box area, you also have this synthetic overlay. So yeah, this shoe is pretty damn hot, so just watch out for that. As far as the aesthetics go, I feel like they did a pretty good job. I'm really into this colorway, and there are some other colorways available if you guys would like. And the overall silhouette is not bad. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, 110 bucks. Okay, so nothing really stood out to me like that much. As far as like, you know, the shoe having like really nice material or really bouncy or crazy cushioning setup, but it performs like a beast. This shoe performed exceptionally well in every single category. Like I said, you're not really gonna get quality in this shoe because it's only 110 bucks. But if you're looking for a minimal supportive shoe that you don't really have to worry about at all when you're playing, then this is the shoe to get. And I'm gonna just say it straight up, in my opinion, this has to be one of my favorite Adidas basketball shoes right now that's available on their site. So yeah, I would 100% recommend it. And like I said, basically any position can play with this. You know, like if you're fast, you can definitely play in it. It's light, it's minimal, you get good impact protection, but it's responsive. And if you're a bigger guy who needs a lot of support, I mean, this shoe is gonna be supportive. So yeah, that about concludes my review on the Pro Boost Low. And not to mention, if you want a little bit more ankle support, you can get the regular Pro Boost Mid, which I believe is $10 more. So if you guys do want to cop either of those shoes, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.